It is the fourth day of the floods that has sacked communities in Maiduguri, Borno State capital. Founder and chairman of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, has now commiserated with the government and people over the floods that affected about 1 million people in the northeastern state. He was in the state alongside the governor of Nasarawa State, Abdullahi Sule, and the delegation from NNPC Limited. Aliko Dangote has announced a donation to the National Emergency Management Agency and the state government to tackle the flood. The NNPC delegation also donated some truckloads of food items and medical supplies to victims.
So the flood committee will agree that NEMA wrote us a letter who says we're aware, but we will give, we sat down, we approve 1 billion naira to work with the Borno State government. And then on top of that, Aliko Dangote Foundation also put another 500 billion, so that's 1.5 billion. This is clarification.
Aliko Dangote is making a donation of 1 billion naira to and is also given to Borno State Direct another 500 million naira for support to some of these people. And as I was telling you earlier on, there are trunks of food items which Nasarawa State government also has procured. They have already started arriving here in Borno, but my father, the Emir of Lafia, is going to be a delegation on Monday. That's when he will deliver the food items also to you on behalf of the Nasarawa State government. So may Allah Almighty continue to protect you, to guide you, and to support the people of Borno State. Assalamu.
In the meantime, the Borno State government and the National Emergency Management Agency have scaled up intervention programs in camps across the state to cater to the needs of those taking refuge as a result of the flood disaster. As camps continue to record high influx of people, the state government says food intervention is the immediate need of the victims. A visit by TVC News to some camps reveals that most victims are stranded and unable to get shelter. Our senior reporter Jesse Tafida has been monitoring the development in Maiduguri. He joins me now on World Now. Jesse, we hear that Aliko Dangote has actually increased the donation he's making to Borno State from 1.5 billion to 2 billion naira. What more can you tell us about this and other interventions for victims?
When he came, he mentioned that 1 billion naira will be given to Naira to provide food assistance to the victims, and 500 million naira is going to the Borno State government as support from the Dangote Group. So after his visit at the government house, they went around the state capital to assess the level of damage caused by the floods. And when he see the magnitude of the devastation, he had to increase 500 million naira to the state government, making it 2 billion naira. According to him, this is one of the worst flood disasters he has seen in Nigeria, and it needs so much support because he feels that the state government cannot do this alone. Let's talk about other interventions like food items from the NNPC Limited, the Northeast Development Commission, and also the government of Nasarawa State. All this intervention is coming to assist the state government in bringing quick intervention to victims. Now, when you go to the camp, you would see how the people are suffering in the camp, talking about women and children and the aged. These people are the most vulnerable. And when I was going into the camp this morning, individuals from the community close to the camp took it as their own social responsibility to cook and bring to assist the government. And you could see how people are running after food. People are rushing on it. They are not patient enough to wait for their own share. And the situation is overwhelming, it's devastating. And that is why the National Emergency Management Agency and the Borno State government deemed it fit to scale up the intervention program that is going on now. Currently, we have over 7 IDP camps. Schools have become camps, refuge for victims. As I'm talking to you now, the National Emergency Management Agency's Search and Rescue Team is already bringing a lot of people back to the camps because the waters are now receding, and those that were stuck in their homes can now have access to these camps. It is also good to note that those that are having family members around the state capital that are safe are taking refuge there. And those people are not getting any support for now. The support is going straight to the camps where it's recording high influx of people at the moment.
All right, Jesse, thank you very much for that update. Jesse Tafida for us in Maiduguri, Borno State. Well, let's talk some more about the Maiduguri flood, and joining us is Programs Manager at the Corporate Accountability and Public Participation for Africa, CAPA, Olamide Ogunlade. Thank you for joining us on World Now. Considering the devastation we're experiencing in Maiduguri, what could we have done differently to prevent this disaster? Mr. Ogunlade, I'm talking about the level of devastation that's been recorded in Maiduguri. What could have been done differently to prevent this magnitude of disaster?
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's rather an unfortunate situation, one that is very, very avoidable.
What priority areas should these funds actually be targeted at?
Well, it should first be for humanitarian support, and that is very, very important as a matter of emergency now. And more importantly, it should also, be channeled towards avoiding a reoccurrence of something like this. This is not a natural flood, and I keep saying this. I just keep praying that coastal rain don't come and excessive rain don't fall. Otherwise, we'll find ourselves in a very, very tight situation. So a lot of emphasis and attention and a lot of investment should go into building, facilities such as river embankment and, of course, what we refer to as flood walls to be able to, prevent a reoccurrence of something like this. While we try to save souls and, of course, help people who have been adversely affected, we should put all our energy into ensuring that similar occurrence is prevented from happening. And that should be the focus of the intervention.
All right. Earlier you spoke about the rains, and I remember when our correspondent spoke to us at 1 p.m., he mentioned the concerns of the people. The clouds were becoming dark, and there were concerns what could happen if the heavens open and, there is rainfall. So talking about prevention, whose duty is it? Whose responsibility is it to step in and ensure that we don't experience a recurrence?
I'm afraid it is the duty of government, and that is the primary role of government, to ensure the protection of its people, their welfare inclusive. So why I will not shy away from the fact that you and I have our own roles to play in avoiding that we manage our water system, our gutter system, our drainage system. The government is also responsible. I'm aware that this is a dam that should service irrigation purposes. So it is the primary duty of government to ensure that this is not repeated in any way. So government can only do this by ensuring that there is massive, attention paid to, orienting the people on what should be done. And appropriate ministries of government should not just, sit down in offices and take instructions only from governor. I mean, this is their mandate. They should go to the field, meet with the people, and of course, consider what we call local expertise in trying to mitigate a reoccurrence of similar nature.
All right, then. Programs Manager, Corporate Accountability and Public Participation for Africa, CAPA, Olamide Ogunlade. Thank you for talking to us on World Now.